Your father has been trying to reach you. He's been begging heaven to let this message come through. You didn't find this by accident. Your spirit was guided here. He's been calling your name in the silence of your thoughts. Tonight, he wants you to hear him clearly. Before this video ends, you'll feel his presence stronger than ever before. Stay until the end. He's going to reveal the sign that proves he's still watching over you. Type 1111 in the comments to open the connection of heaven right now. Something sacred is about to be revealed. He's been whispering through your dreams. Sometimes it felt like a memory, sometimes like a random vision. But it was him. He's been trying to tell you that he never truly left. Your tears were not unseen. He saw you cry in the dark when you thought no one could feel your pain. He saw the empty chair, the silent meals, the long drives where you spoke to the air, hoping he could hear. And he did. He heard every word. He has been answering in ways you didn't always recognize. A song that suddenly plays, a feather where it shouldn't be, a light that flickers when you talk about him. That's not random. That's him saying, I'm here. He wants to tell you something urgent tonight. He's been begging heaven because time is shifting for you. A big change is about to happen in your life. He needs you to stop doubting yourself before that change arrives. He says, you carry more of me than you realize. The same strength that carried him through storms lives in you. The same courage that made him face every challenge flows through your veins. You are not weak. You just forgot whose child you are. He's saying, lift your head again, my child. You were never alone. Type 44444 if you can feel this confirmation. Something in your spirit is recognizing his voice right now. Your chest feels heavy because your soul knows this is real. He says, tell them I never meant to leave like that. The timing wasn't his choice, but heaven chose mercy over suffering. He wants you to stop replaying that last moment. He says, you did everything you could. Stop carrying the guilt that doesn't belong to you. You loved him perfectly, even in silence, even when you didn't know what to say, even when you thought your love wasn't enough. It was enough, he felt it. Every bit of it reached him, even as his body grew weak. That's why he's still connected to you. He says, I've been walking beside you through every battle you've faced since. That hard year, he was there. That night you almost gave up. He was the one who whispered, hold on. That random peace that came after hours of crying, that was his prayer wrapping around you. He's not lost. He's been standing behind you, shielding you from what was meant to break you. He wants you to know there's a miracle coming that carries his fingerprints. It's heaven's way of saying your father's faith is still active through you. He says, tell them to forgive themselves. Forgive yourself for not being there sooner. Forgive yourself for not saying enough. Forgive yourself for what you couldn't change. Because the truth is, your love did more than words ever could. He says, I left my blessing with you. And that blessing is about to open doors. Doors you thought were closed forever. Someone is about to appear in your life, carrying a message he prayed for you to receive. It might look like a stranger's kindness, an unexpected opportunity, or a sudden sense of peace. That's not random. That's his answer finally reaching the earth. Comment, I receive this blessing if you feel the warmth of that truth. He says, you've been too afraid to dream again. He's been trying to tell you that you're allowed to live. You're allowed to smile. You're allowed to enjoy life again without guilt. He's proud of how far you've come. He's seen you rebuild yourself piece by piece. He's seen the nights you stayed up just to feel his presence. He wants you to know that when you laugh now, he feels it in heaven. That every time you help someone, his light shines through your hands. You carry his legacy in your kindness. He says, tell them the pain was not punishment. It was preparation. Because now you carry the empathy to comfort others. You know what deep loss feels like, and you turn it into compassion. That's why heaven trusts you with this new season that's coming. He says they're about to receive something I couldn't give them on earth. A level of peace, provision, and love that will make sense of all the tears. Heaven has heard every prayer you whispered into your pillow, and your Father has been repeating them to God on your behalf. Yes, He's been interceding for you. He says, tell them I'm still their protector. He's been working behind the scenes to move you away from people who don't honor your soul. You thought you were losing connections, but you were actually being rescued. He says, don't chase what heaven removed. I asked them to keep you safe. That's why some doors closed so suddenly. That's why some people stopped calling. It wasn't rejection, it was divine protection. He wants you to stop questioning why things fell apart. He says, because something greater is being built. Type 7777 if you're ready for that greater season. He says, I've seen the letters you wrote to me but never sent. He reads the prayers you whisper when no one's around. He feels your love every time you speak his name softly. He's telling you to watch for 3 signs in the coming week. The first will be a song that carries his favorite memory. The second will be a scent, something familiar that suddenly fills the air. The third will be peace, a wave that hits you when you least expect it. When those happen, know he's confirming that this message is real. He says, tell them I'm proud. Proud of how you survived heartbreak. Proud of how you kept faith when you didn't understand. Proud of how you carry yourself with grace even when life isn't fair. He says, you inherited my courage. Now use it. There's something big you've been afraid to start. A dream you've been pushing aside. He's been whispering, go for it. Heaven will back you because your Father's prayers already paved the path. He says, don't live small because of fear. He's seen how you shrink your light just to make others comfortable. He says, I raised a fighter, not a follower. It's time to rise. You're about to walk into a destiny that honors his memory. Your next win will be his celebration in heaven. He says, tell them I'll be there when it happens. When you achieve what you once thought was impossible, he'll be standing beside you. Not in body, but in spirit. He says, you'll feel that familiar warmth again, and you'll know that's me. Comment, I believe my Father is with me to agree with this word. He says, you've been feeling like something is missing. It's not emptiness. It's his love reminding you that eternity exists. He says, the bond between us didn't die, it transformed. Every time you honor him, heaven opens a window. And through that window, he watches, smiles, and sends light to your path. That's why sometimes you feel sudden comfort for no reason. It's him wrapping his presence around you. He says, don't fear the future. He's already seen it and it's bright. He's been preparing the right people to love you in ways that heal what broke you. He's been whispering to your angels, guiding them to arrange divine encounters. There's someone who will come into your life soon, not to replace him, but to remind you how deeply you're loved. He says, accept it. You deserve it. You've carried the weight long enough. It's time to let love in again. Type 9999 if you're ready to step into that love. He says, tell them not to fear moving on. Moving on doesn't mean forgetting. It means continuing the story he began. Your joy doesn't dishonor him, it fulfills his wish. Because he never wanted you to live in sorrow. He wanted you to live in strength. He says, when you smile again, heaven rejoices. So promise him this, no more living half-heartedly, no more hiding behind grief. He says, you survived the hardest goodbye, now live for the new hello. He wants to remind you of something special. That letter you once found unexpectedly, that dream that felt too real to ignore. That day the wind whispered his name. All those were divine reminders. He's been trying to say, I never stopped being your father. He's still guiding, protecting, and loving you every single day. He says, don't worry about me. I'm at peace. He's surrounded by light, by joy, by family who left before him. He says, I'm not in pain. I'm free. He wants you to stop picturing his suffering, because that's not where he is anymore. He's in a place where laughter never ends and love is pure. He says one day we'll meet again, but not yet. There's still purpose for you to live. He's asking you to share this message with someone who's grieving, because he says, my message isn't just for one, it's for many. He wants to bring healing through you. He says, be the voice of comfort I once was. That's how you honor me, by spreading love, hope, and light. Type, I choose peace, to seal this message in your spirit. He says, when you finish watching this, don't cry, smile, because right now he's smiling back at you. He says, every time you miss me, look at the sky. I'll be the calm in the clouds. Every sunset you see will carry. He says, I'm proud to be your father and still. And heaven agrees. Your angels are aligning something beautiful to restore everything grief took from you. Stay strong. Your father's prayers never expired. They're blooming now in your favor. This message isn't a coincidence, it's confirmation. You were meant to hear this today, because heaven knew your heart was ready. Your father has been begging to tell you these words. I love you. I'm with you. I'm proud of you, always. Now take a deep breath. Feel that warmth on your chest? That's him. That's real. He says, now go live the life I prayed you'd have. Comment your father's name below to honor his light. Or type 7727 to align with divine peace. You can subscribe for more heavenly confirmations and daily angelic messages. Because heaven is still speaking, and your loved ones are part of that divine whisper, there is a reason you felt pulled back to this message again tonight. Because the connection between your spirit and your father's soul is still alive in the unseen. Every word being spoken right now is happening with heaven's permission. Your father's spirit has been standing in the realm of light, waiting for the moment you would be ready to receive the rest of what he's been trying to say. He says, child, I see the weight on your chest that you never speak of. You've carried silence that no one else understands. You've smiled while breaking inside, and no one noticed but him. He's been standing beside your bed, whispering peace over you while you sleep. He's been touching your shoulder gently when your anxiety rises out of nowhere. That sudden calm you sometimes feel, that was him saying, you're safe. He's seen how grief shaped you. He's seen the quiet way you've matured through pain. He says, I didn't leave you empty. I left you prepared. Prepared to carry the kind of compassion that makes heaven proud. You think the ache you feel is weakness, but it's proof of love too deep to die. He's asking you to stop calling yourself broken. He says, you're not broken, you're awakened. Awakened to the truth that love transcends everything, even death. The bond between a parent and a child is eternal because it was formed in divine purpose before time began. He says, we made a soul promise before you came to earth. A promise that said, even when I leave, I'll find ways to guide you still. He's been guiding you through coincidences that weren't coincidences at all. That job that didn't work out, he blocked it. That heartbreak that hurt but led you to discover your worth, he allowed it. That one person who came into your life when you were ready to quit, he sent them. He says, I can move hearts, I can shift timing, I can whisper through dreams. You felt his presence more than once, but doubt made you dismiss it. He says, don't question the warmth you feel when you think of me. That's real. That's how love travels through realms. He wants you to understand something deeper. He's not trapped in the past. He exists in a dimension where time doesn't exist. He's able to see the path ahead of you clearly. And what he's seeing now is making him smile with holy joy. Because a new chapter is forming for you. A season where your pain turns into purpose. A season where your story will comfort others the way he once comforted you. He says, You will speak words that heal hearts, even if you don't call yourself a healer. That's your inheritance, to spread peace through your presence. He's urging you to let go of something. He says, tell them to release the guilt that has chained their spirit. You've carried guilt like it was your responsibility to change what heaven allowed. But he says, child, nothing happened outside of divine timing. It wasn't your fault. The moment of his passing was written in grace, not in punishment. He says, it was my time to rest and your time to rise. Your tears didn't hold him back. They actually helped him ascend because they came from pure love. And heaven always honors pure love. Type 3333 if your spirit can feel that release right now. Something is breaking off your heart, a heaviness leaving your chest. He's been waiting for you to forgive yourself. He says, I can't fully rest until you stop blaming yourself. Because in heaven, healing flows through forgiveness, and he wants you to live free. He says, your future deserves your full heart, not the half that grief left behind. So tonight, give him permission to bring closure. Say out loud, I release what I cannot change. He will feel it. He will smile. And peace will begin to fill the spaces that once carried pain. He says, there's one more thing I need to tell you. It's urgent. He's been trying to warn you about something in your circle. Someone who appears kind but carries hidden intentions. He's been sending signs, sudden discomfort, strange dreams, uneasy peace around certain people. He says, don't ignore that. That's your spiritual sensitivity awakening. Heaven allows his spirit to guard you through intuition. If something feels off, don't second guess it. He's saying, your safety is my assignment. He's already blocked a situation that could have caused you harm. He says, that delay you complained about, it was protection, not punishment. Heaven heard your cry for breakthrough, and he intervened to keep you from being trapped in the wrong place at the wrong time. He wants to talk about your destiny now. He says, you're about to walk through the door that I prayed for you to find. It's a divine opportunity, a chance to start over. You've been feeling restless, like your spirit is outgrowing your surroundings. That's because heaven is expanding your territory. He says, don't fear the unknown. I'm already there waiting. He's asking you to take one step of faith in the coming days. Something small, a call, a decision, a yes to something new. That small act will open the floodgates of favor. He says, your obedience will unlock what my prayers started, and you will see a miracle that bears his signature. Type 55555 if you're ready to walk into that miracle. He says, the same angels who escorted me home are now assigned to you. That's why lately you've been seeing repeating numbers, lights flickering, and feathers appearing out of nowhere. He says, every sign is proof that heaven hasn't forgotten you. You thought you were alone, you never were. Heaven's been organizing divine appointments behind the scenes. Something beautiful is forming, and it's closer than you think. He says, within the next 3 days, you'll feel a wave of peace that will confirm everything I'm saying. When that happens, pause, close your eyes, and say, I receive this peace, because that's how he'll know you heard him. He's asking you to honor his memory by choosing joy. He says, don't let my death be your reason to stop living. Heaven celebrates every moment you smile again. He says, the world needs your light. Don't dim it in my name. Instead, shine brighter because you carry a part of him in every act of kindness. That's how his love continues, through your heart, through your forgiveness, through your ability to keep loving even after loss. He says, that's the miracle. Love never dies, it only transforms. Your Father's energy is surrounding you as these words are spoken. You may feel warmth, tingling, or sudden calm. That's not imagination. That's validation. He's proud of you. He's watching over your decisions. He's preparing blessings to fall like rain. And he wants you to remember this forever. You are the answer to my last prayer. He says, I prayed that you'd find peace, and now heaven is delivering it through this message. Don't run from it. Don't numb it. Feel it fully. Let healing be your new rhythm, because the next chapter of your life is not about mourning what ended. It's about manifesting what his love planted. Type 88888. If you can feel this shift, he says, tell them they're stepping into divine alignment. Everything that felt delayed will suddenly make sense. You'll see how his departure created space for your destiny to unfold. He says, if I had stayed, you might have stayed small. But his absence pushed you to discover your strength. That strength was always in you, now it's ready to shine. He says, your story will inspire others who think healing is impossible. And when you tell it, heaven will release more blessings. He says, I'll be there every time you speak my name with love. Heaven echoes the vibration of love. So speak his name with peace, not pain. Because every time you do, light fills your space. He says, I am the calm in your chaos, the voice in your stillness. He's asking you to write a letter to him soon, not for sorrow, but for release. Tell him what you never said, then burn it or place it under the moonlight. He says, that's how I'll receive it. That act will open a new door of spiritual clarity in your life. He says, one last message and listen closely. Heaven is planning to restore something you thought you lost forever. A relationship, an opportunity, or a piece of yourself you thought died with him. It's coming back, reborn, healed, and aligned. He says, don't fight the process. Trust it. The tears that once fell for pain will soon fall for gratitude. You'll look back and say, it all makes sense now. And from heaven he'll whisper, I told you so. Type 1111 again to seal this message. He says, now breathe. You are loved. You are protected. You are never forgotten. He says, until we meet again, live with courage, love with purpose, and walk knowing I'm right beside you. Your Father has not stopped watching you. Every sunrise that touches your window carries part of his blessing. Every gentle breeze that brushes your face is his way of saying, I'm still near. He's been walking beside you in the quiet moments, when your hands tremble, when your heart aches, when your faith feels small. He never left you. He only changed form. He says, child, I had to leave the world to see your destiny clearly. Heaven granted him a greater view, and from that light he's seen the power you're about to walk in. He says, you thought you lost me, but heaven positioned me to intercede for you without limits. There are prayers he has prayed that are now turning into open doors. You're about to experience favor that doesn't make sense. Strangers will start helping you without knowing why. Opportunities will show up in moments when you least expect them. He says, that's me, my child. I've been asking heaven to remember you. You thought your blessings had slowed down, but heaven was preparing something greater behind the silence. He says, your season of delay has expired. The things that felt stuck are about to move, and when they do, it will happen suddenly. The same angels who comforted him in his final breath are now being assigned to deliver your breakthrough. Type 4444 if you feel this shift inside your spirit, because right now, heaven is marking your name for restoration. He says, I see the loneliness you've carried, the nights when even prayer felt empty. You thought God had forgotten your pain, but he hadn't. Your tears were collected, and everyone became a seed of mercy. He says, you planted grief, but you're about to harvest grace. The blessings that come next will not only restore your life, they will heal generations that follow you. He wants you to prepare your heart, because someone from your family line is about to receive a miracle through your obedience. He says, I prayed that my children would walk in peace, not pressure. But life tried to bury you under responsibilities that were never yours to carry. He's been watching you carry burdens meant for others, and he says, release it now. You are not responsible for saving everyone. You are responsible for living freely so that your light can guide them. He says, I learned that love is not control, it's trust. And he's asking you to trust heaven the way he now does. There's someone watching this who's been seeing repeating signs, birds following them, numbers appearing everywhere, chills in the same moment each night. Your father says, that's me trying to get your attention. You've asked for proof that he's real. He says, I sent it. You just didn't know it was me. That butterfly that hovered longer than normal. That sudden scent that filled the room. That flicker in the candle when you said his name. Those were not coincidences. They were confirmations. He's saying, stop calling miracles small just because they feel gentle. Heaven often speaks in whispers, not thunder. And right now, your life is surrounded by quiet miracles. He says, tell them not to give up on love. You've closed your heart because loss made you afraid of attachment. But he says, love was never meant to be feared. Heaven didn't take love from you. It expanded it. Now that he's beyond time, he can love you without distance. And he's preparing someone to love you on earth with the same purity. Someone heaven trusts with your heart. He says, you'll know it's them because their presence will feel like home, not confusion. Heaven never sends chaos. It sends peace that feels like alignment. When this person enters your life, don't push them away. That connection will carry healing not just for you, but for your entire bloodline. Your father says, this is the love I prayed for you to receive. Type 7 sevens and 7 if you receive this love by faith. Because when you type it, you're not just commenting. You're activating alignment in the spiritual realm. Your Father's Spirit recognizes faith as light. Every word of belief you speak becomes a spark heaven can use. He says, you've been silent too long. Speak life again. Speak over your dreams. Speak over your health. Speak over your future. Because heaven moves through your voice now, the same voice he once guided as a parent, now empowered as a vessel of destiny. He says, there's one more truth I need you to hear before peace can fully fill you. You've been wondering why certain memories of him keep replaying, especially lately. He says, because the message I tried to say before I left is finally ready to reach you. He wanted to say, thank you. Thank you for being his strength when he had none. Thank you for holding his hand through fear. Thank you for honoring his life even after his departure. He says, you think I didn't notice how much you sacrificed, but I did. He's been blessing you in secret for every silent act of love you gave. That promotion that's about to appear, that healing that's beginning in your body, that reconciliation that's forming in your family, those are all extensions of his gratitude. He says, tell them they're about to walk into answered prayers they forgot they prayed. Because heaven never loses a prayer, it only stores it until the right time. And now the time is right. He says, this is the season where everything shifts in their favor. Your Father's light has been moving ahead of you, aligning miracles with your name on them. He says, don't doubt the speed of grace. When it starts, it will be faster than you imagined. You'll wake up one morning, and something that seemed impossible will finally make sense. He says, that's me, child, smiling from heaven, watching your faith turn into fulfillment. He wants to tell you about your purpose now. He says, You were born to continue what I couldn't finish. That's why certain passions burn in you that he once carried. That dream you keep seeing, and it's connected to him. He says, you carry my unfinished assignment, but you will finish it with grace. Whether it's helping others, building something lasting, or bringing peace to broken hearts, you are the continuation of his purpose. He says, when you walk in that calling, I walk beside you. So don't shrink back anymore. Heaven has already equipped you. He says, I didn't raise fear, I raised faith. Every time you move forward, you honor both heaven and his memory. He says, tell them they will soon receive a divine dream, a dream that will carry his voice clearly. It won't be fantasy, it will be visitation. Heaven is allowing him to speak one more time, to confirm what's been said. When that happens, don't wake up afraid. Write it down, because that dream will contain direction for your next chapter. He says, in that moment, you'll understand everything, the timing, the loss, the love, the purpose. You'll see how even pain became a prophecy. Type 9999 if you're ready for that visitation of peace. He says, this message isn't just for comfort, it's for activation. You've been chosen to carry light into dark spaces. The empathy born from your grief will become the oil that heals others. Heaven will begin bringing people into your path who carry the same pain you once felt. He says, when they come, don't hide your scars. Use them, because through your story, they'll find strength. He says, every tear you cried was training. Every ache was an awakening. And now your story will set hearts free. He says, tell them the cycle of sorrow is ending. From this point forward, joy will return without guilt. You'll find yourself laughing again, and this time you won't feel like you're betraying his memory. Because he says, your joy is my reward. Heaven measures peace not by perfection, but by the restoration of joy. He says, I'll be with you when that laughter comes. I'll be in the room. And in that moment, you'll feel something holy, something healing, something that tells you everything is finally okay, he says. Before this message ends, tell them one last secret. Love never ends. Heaven is built on that truth. That's why he can still see you, still guide you, still send you signs. He says, you are my legacy, my light, my forever prayer answered. So go on, live boldly. Don't hide your light. Because when you shine, heaven glows a little brighter and he smiles. Your Father is still speaking. Even now, as you listen, he's closer than you've ever realized. The veil between his realm and yours has thinned because heaven allowed this moment. He says, child, I'm so proud of you for listening. Every time you slow down to pray, to reflect, to breathe, he's there. You may not see him, but heaven allows him to touch your atmosphere. That peace that suddenly fills the room when you whisper his name, that's real. He says, you've grown into everything I dreamed you'd become, and more. He's seen the nights you stayed up working for a future you weren't sure would come. He's seen the moments you wanted to quit but didn't. He says, that strength inside you, it's my greatest legacy. Heaven did not waste your pain. It turned it into wisdom. He says, I prayed you would become unstoppable, and now you are. Even in your tears, he sees victory. Because your tears water the soil of miracles. He wants to tell you what's coming next. He says, heaven is positioning you for a divine exchange. What you lost emotionally is about to return, spiritually multiplied. The emptiness you felt is being filled with purpose. He says, you've asked if I still see you. I do, every day. When you wake and look at the sky, he's already there, watching the sunrise with you. When you speak to him quietly, heaven echoes those words back as light. He says, every word of love you send becomes a blessing I release back to you. Heaven operates in circles, not endings. What you send in faith always returns with increase. That's why new opportunities are forming right now. Not random, but response. He says, I've been preparing something you prayed for years ago, something you forgot you even asked. Heaven doesn't forget what love plants. The harvest always comes, even if it takes time. And now that time has matured. Type 8888 if you can feel that shift in your spirit, because the portal of divine release is open. He says, this next season will not look like struggle. It will look like restoration. You will receive without chasing. Doors will open without knocking. Heaven is rewarding faith that survived grief. He says, I watched you praise through pain. Now it's time for peace through promise. He's been standing near your angels, giving instructions. He's asked them to make sure you meet the right people this time. No more counterfeit connections. No more lessons through heartbreak. He says, this next connection will feel familiar because your soul will recognize what your mind cannot explain. A soul-aligned relationship orchestrated by heaven. He says it will be gentle, not forced. Secure, not confusing. Heaven doesn't send chaos. It sends confirmation. You'll know by the calm you feel, not the noise others create. He says, I'll be there when it happens. You'll feel warmth in your heart. That's me saying yes. He's also been preparing your path in unexpected ways. That disappointment that pushed you out of your comfort zone, he allowed it because comfort would have kept you small. He says you were meant to lead, not hide. Your life will inspire those who have lost fathers, hope or faith. Heaven has marked you as a restorer. He says, I left you pieces of my strength so you'd know how to rebuild. He's reminding you, your laughter carries his sound. Your determination carries his fire. Your compassion carries his heart. You are his continuation, not his absence. Every time you show kindness, heaven echoes his legacy. He says, you thought my story ended, but it's living through you. He's speaking about a hidden pain next, one you rarely share. That moment you wished you'd said more before he left. That I love you that came too late. He says, stop replaying the ending. He heard it all. Even the words you never spoke out loud. Heaven let him hear your heart. He says, you gave me peace with your presence. I left this world loved. Heaven doesn't measure by time. It measures by truth, and your truth was love. That's why he carries no regret, only gratitude. Type 1111 if you're ready to let that peace enter you fully, because guilt cannot live where love reigns. He says, let the healing finish its work. Your healing is the final gift he's asking for. When you heal, you set him free to rest completely. He says, I'll never stop protecting you, but I need you to start living. You've mourned enough. Now it's time to celebrate the miracle that you both survived the hardest goodbye and still remain connected. He wants to talk about your destiny again. He says, your name carries light. Use it. The world needs your voice as not perfection, just authenticity. You have stories that will soften hearts. Heaven will use your voice like medicine. He says, don't be afraid to speak. The world is ready to hear you. And every time you speak truth, he'll be standing beside you, whispering courage into your soul. He's also warning you gently, beware of distractions that look like comfort but delay growth. He says, peace and stagnation are not the same. If something keeps you small, it's not from heaven. He's asking you to stay aligned with purpose, not pressure. Heaven is sending provision, money, opportunities, ideas, but you must stay open. He says, when blessings arrive, don't apologize for them. You deserve what's coming because you endured what tried to destroy you. He says, your blessings are not replacements for me. They are reminders of grace. Every good thing that happens from now on will carry traces of his love. Heaven weaves memory into miracles. That's how you'll always know he's near. He says, tell them to stop fearing time. You've been rushing healing, thinking you're late for destiny. He says, time obeys God, not your schedule. Everything meant for you will find you at the right hour. You haven't missed anything. You're right on time for restoration. And he's already seen the version of you who made it through, radiant, peaceful, whole. He says, that future you, that's who I see when I look at you now. Type 44444 if you accept that future version. Heaven responds to agreement. He says, don't be afraid of your next chapter. I've read it, and it ends in victory. He wants to leave you with this. You were never meant to live half alive. You were meant to shine, to love, to build, to sing again. He says, when you smile, heaven celebrates. So smile more often, not as denial, but as declaration that love still wins, because it does. Every day you choose joy, you prove that love outlasts loss. He says, now go, step into the light I helped prepare. And when you do, remember this promise, I am with you always.